Hey everyone! This is Lifting a Line. It is one of our strategies to help us to become stronger readers in Reading Workshop. It's rereading for a purpose. Now, some of you have probably thought of rereading a page or a line or a word or the entire chapter sometimes as being weak, like this guy who can't really lift the stick. But actually, rereading, as long as you're rereading for a purpose, to gather more information and understand small details, that's actually strengthening your reading strategies and skills. I reread all the time. That might make me a slower reader, in quotations, but it's actually making me stronger because I'm finding out more details than if I were to read that one page the first time. So reading is not really about speed, and it's not really about how fast you can get through a book. It's more of what are you gaining from that book. Just like in strength training, you're gaining muscle. So for each repetition, for each time you read over that book or that page or that chapter or even that sentence, you are gaining so much more detail and so much more out of that book than if you were to just read it one time, especially if you're someone who struggles with comprehension like I did. So when we're rereading, it's called lifting a line. And especially if you're looking specifically for detail, I know last week we talked about reading and responding to reading with text evidence and finding text evidence to support your claims. Rereading and lifting a line will help you. So I'm going to show you how I did it with Freak the Mighty. Want to go ahead and read part of that Freak the Mighty section that I'm going to reread in order for me to lift a line. So I went back into chapter 4 when we were finding a little bit more out about Maxwell. And I remember this specific section because I wanted to get a little bit more information from that text. So here we go. This time I don't say huh, because then I might have to explain how I'm an LD, and reading books is the last thing I want to do, right after trimming my toenails with a lawnmower, gargling nails, and eating worms for breakfast. Of course, Freak has probably already guessed I'm a learning disabled, because he's had a look around my room, and it isn't exactly the public library. After reading that for the second time, I'm thinking that LD has something to do with lack of reading or maybe lack of drive for reading. Something along those lines make me think that because he would rather gargle nails or trim his toenails with a lawnmower and gargle nails and eat worms for breakfast over reading. Hopefully that's none of you too. But I'm thinking that that's why he said that. So LD must stand for something, and if I were to go and Google it, I bet you I could find that out. So that'll be for the next time. But I'm glad I reread this because I think I understand it a little bit better. Okay, so that was just an example of me rereading the line. I did in fact go and Google that abbreviation just so that you knew. So LD actually stands for Learning Disabled, and it is a label that they gave students with special needs or learning disabilities so that they can be placed in specific classes. The next couple of steps that we need to talk about are after you identify the line that you want to reread in order to understand better or grow that understanding stronger, you need to ask yourself, how did that rereading help you make sense of the text? So rereading that for me, that one piece, it helped me understand that Maxwell does not like to read. He hates reading. He would rather do things other than that. And the first time I read it, I was like, is he really talking about lawnmowers? I got too distracted by the author's comparisons to what he would rather do rather than understanding all of the fact that he just doesn't like to read. So that was the author's way of being creative and telling us that, but sometimes it could be a little distracting, and that's why you need to reread it in order to catch all of those details. And then my next approach, which you'll see in class, is I'm going to write a response to that discovery, so explaining how I understand that specific line and how I understand how the author is making it more of a creative comparison for me as the reader to read and enjoy. And that's it. That's all it takes for lifting a line. So hooray, you did it. You made it through. Now what I want you to do with your group, you are going to read the story Tanaika. It's in our literature books. The page number will be on the whiteboard up front. You're going to read it once, then you're going to read it again in order to lift a specific line to get deeper understanding. You are probably all going to have different lines that you want to lift. That is definitely okay. Like I said, you're going to read it once with your group, and then you're going to read it again silently to lift that line and put that finding into your notebooks. And with that, that's all there is. I hope you understand. Let me know if you have any questions at all. This is one of those strategies that's going to help you become a stronger reader. Have a great day, everybody.